I go to Bristol. It should be page 29, chapter 7. We had just finished in the fireplace area of the hall, dining hall for Dr. Livesey. How long did Squire Trelawney say it was going to take to get a ship ready to go?
Wasn't it a couple weeks?
And he was like, 14 days. No, 10 days. By George. He's like, oh, we're going to do this quick. We're going to have the best crew and everything's going to be great. It didn't go as planned. Just like your crew you were trying to build, like, oh, we'll get this, we'll get that. Oh, we don't have enough time. Oh. You face real life problems when you try to solve the crew issue, right? Not even Dr. Livesey's of keeping me beside him could be carried out as we intended. It was longer than the squire imagined, ere we were ready for sea. Sorry, I started in the second line. And none of our first plans, not even Dr. Livesey's of keeping me beside him, could be carried out as we intended. The doctor had to go to London for a physician to take charge of his practice. The squire was hard at work at Bristol. Bristol is the port where he's trying to find the crew. And I lived on at the hall under the charge of old Redruth, the gamekeeper, almost a prisoner, but full of sea dreams and the most charming anticipations of strange islands and adventures. Redruth, weird name. I think of him, I don't know why, I think of him as Hagrid from Harry Potter. He's kind of a big guy with hair, and he's kind of not as bright, but you like him. He's kind of gruff. And he's a gamekeeper, and there's all these other people below him. These guys are pretty rich, and they have all these exotic animals at their house. And he takes care of them, takes care of the horses, takes care of the goats, takes care of the alligator. I don't know what he has. And there's all these other people beneath him. So, to give you an idea that he's in charge of them, but he's a gruff guy. I brooded by the hour together over the map, all the details of which I well remembered. He's been dreaming about, oh man, we're going on another trail. We're going to an island. Oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? Oh. You ever have the anticipation of being excited for something, trying to figure out, oh, what are we going to do? We're going to Disneyland. We're going to Colorado. We're going to Council Grove. I don't know. Something you think is going to be exciting. Sitting by the fire in the housekeeper's room, I approached that island in my fancy, or in my dreams, from every possible direction. I explored every acre of its surface. I climbed 1,000 times to that tall hill they call the Spyglass, and from the top enjoyed the most wonderful and changing prospects. Oh, look at the ocean. Oh, you can see the other islands. Oh, it's so beautiful here on this island. Sometimes the isle was thick with savages, or Indians, with whom we fought, sometimes full of dangerous animals that hunted us. But in all my fancies, nothing occurred to me so strange and tragic as our actual adventures. What's that foreshadowing? What's that foreshadowing? What's that?
The adventure on the island.
Yeah, what's it going to be?
Strange and tragic.
Strange and tragic, he says. You're being good readers and thinking about what he's saying, right?
Right.
So the weeks passed on. Whoa, weeks. That was supposed to be 10 days. Till one fine day there came a letter addressed to Dr. Livesey with this addition. To be opened in the case of his absence by Tom Redruth or young Hawkins. Obeying this order, we found, or rather I found, for the gamekeeper was a poor hand at reading anything but print. That means he wrote the whole thing in cursive. Like, gamekeeper can't read cursive. They read the following important news. Old Anchor Inn, Bristol, March 1st, 17-0. Dear Livesey, as I do not know whether you are at the hall or still in London, I send this in double to both places. The ship is bought and fitted. She lies at anchor ready for sea. You never imagined a sweeter schooner. A child might sail her. 200 tons. The name, Hispaniola. What boat did they get? Yeah, the best, the most expensive, the biggest, the schooner. What's its name? Hispaniola. You should be thinking about, oh, I'm a crew member. I don't really know my name, but maybe you can tweet about the name of the boat or what you're going to be doing. Let's see how it goes trying to find the crew here. I got her through my old friend Blandly, who has proved himself throughout the most surprising trump. The admirable fellow literally slaved in my interest, and so I may say, did everyone in Bristol, as soon as they got wind of the port we sailed for. Treasure, I mean. What?
He snitched.
Snap. Squire, everybody's all willing to help, since they know where we're going. Everybody knows where we're going. Oh, well, you're going to find treasure? Ah, so how do you think people are going to help? For truth, said I, interrupting the letter, Dr. Livesey will not like that. The squire has been talking after all. Well, it was better right, growled the gamekeeper. Afraid I'm go if the squire ain't to talk for Dr. Livesey, I should think. I'm not surprised, the guy can never shut up. At that, I gave up all attempt at commentary and read straight on. Blindly himself found the Hispaniola, and by the most admirable management got her for the merest trifle. There is a class of men in Bristol monstrously prejudiced against Blandley. They go the length of declaring that this honest creature would do anything for money, that the Hispaniola belonged to him, and that he sold it me absurdly high. The most transparent calumnies. None of them dare, however, to deny the merits of the ship. What's he saying? Blandley found him a ship. Everybody else is saying, dude, he owns that ship. What are you talking about? He found it for you. And you paid way more than you should have for that thing. It is a good ship, though. But you're getting hamstrung. You're getting hornswaggled. All right? Is Squire very good at managing things? No. He's found a ship, but he doesn't really know what he should be paying for. Anybody feel like that when you were, it's like, I don't know, is this too much for rum? Is this too much for a boat? Starting to think about how difficult it is when you're trying to get yourself across the Atlantic. Question?
No, I just.
You're just saying, yeah? You're just like, I'm confused. I don't know, is this a good price? So far, there was not a hitch. The work people, to be sure, riggers and whatnot, were most annoyingly slow. But time cured that. It was the crew that troubled me. It's like, I've got all the goods, I've got all the dry pork, I've got all the rounds. Their guys are moving slow, getting it all on the boat, but I cannot find a crew. Ugh. I wished a round score of men, in case of natives or buccaneers or the odious French. And I had the worry of the deuce itself to find so much as half a dozen. Till the most remarkable stroke of fortune brought me the very man I required. I was standing on the dock when, by the merest accident, I fell in talk with him. I found he was an old sailor, kept a public house, knew all the seafaring men in Bristol, had lost his health ashore, and wanted a good berth as cook to get to sea again. He has hobbled down there this morning, he said, to get the smell of the salt. Oh, we got a guy who wants to be cook. I was monstrously touched. So would you have been. And out of pure pity, I engaged him on the spot to be ship's cook. Long John Silver he is called, and has lost a leg. But that I regarded as a recommendation, since he lost it in his country's service under the immortal Hawk. He has no pension, Livesey. Imagine the abominable age we live in. Oh, this poor guy. He used to work for Hawk. That's like being for General Schwarzkopf in the Iraq War, or being for General Lee in the Civil War. It's like one of the greatest generals of all time. Man, he lost it working for that guy? What a great man he must be. But what's too bad is he doesn't get any retirement pension. He's stuck just trying to survive, and you know what? I felt sorry for him, and he wants to help us out. So why not have him? He's been at sea. He knows what to do. It'd be really helpful. Well, sir, I thought I had only found a cook, but it was a crew I had discovered. Between Silver and myself, we got together in a few days a company of the toughest old salts imaginable. Not pretty to look at, but fellows by their faces of the most indomitable spirit. I declare we could fight a frigate. Oh, that's cool. The cook knew a bunch of guys who could help us out. You starting to remember your crew you hired? Mm-hmm. Who hired the cook? The one who owns a public house or an inn. Anybody hire that cook? Anybody hire a crew that the cook said would be a good crew to have? Okay. Now you're starting to see that some of the options might parallel our story a little bit. Long John even got rid of 2 of the 6 or 7 I had already engaged. He showed me in a moment that they were just the sort of freshwater swabs we had to fear in an adventure of importance. I am in the most magnificent health and spirits, eating like a bull, sleeping like a tree, yet I shall not enjoy a moment till I hear my old tarpaulins tramping round the capstan. Seaward ho! Hang the treasure! It's the glory of the sea that has turned my head. So now, Livesey, come post. Do not lose an hour if you respect me. Let young Hawkins go at once to see his mother, with Redruth for a guard, and then both come full speed to Bristol. John Trelawney. Thoughts? We've got a crew. We've got a cook. We've got a ship. What else do we need? What do we need?
Is this the squire?
The squire wrote this letter.
And so, wait, how, he's writing up here and he says,
And then
Treasure.
Jim cuts in. Yeah, he mentions,
yeah, but it's the squire talking.
yeah, the squire mentions the treasure.
Smith.
So what do you think?
But he's talking to Jim.
Yeah, but it says here, as soon as they got wind of, or they heard of, where we're trying to do. That's what that means. We're at the top left, it says, as soon as they got wind of the port we sail for. That means as soon as they heard where we were going.
Oh.
Treasure, I mean.
So he told the crew?
Yeah!
Oh.
He told them. What a goober. Yeah.
No, they're missing tools,
What?
like supplies and tools.
No, he said that he got all that stuff set up already. What else do we need?
Coxswain, boatswain.
The coxswain and the boatswain and a first mate, right? And then some of the crew members, right? Some of you are crew members. What do you guys think of the crew, the cook, and so far? Yeah?
Wait, don't you need a captain?
Oh, and a captain. And we need a captain. Let's read on here. Let's see what it says. Postscript. Wait a minute. Those are a couple of root words. Post means after. Script means something written. Postscript means after something written. Postscript. Oh, P.S. means after you wrote something.
That's what PS means?
Yes.
I always
Yes.
wondered that.
Postscript.
I thought it was plus something.
After my writing, I'm writing this.
Oh, light bulb.
Postscript. I did not tell you that Blandly, who, by the way, is to send a consort after us if we don't turn up by the end of August. Consort means a rescue trip. If things go wrong, he'll send a rescue crew after us in August. Had found an admirable fellow for sailing master. That means captain. A stiff man, which I regret. Like, he is really rigid. He runs a tight ship. Well, that's no pun intended. What kind of guy that we tried to hire would that be like? Really tight, run everything, he's very rigid, very disciplined. Which one is that?
The one that likes to guard the room.
No, that's first mate.
The retired.
Yeah, he'd been there, he's retired, 20 years, really stiff, the most expensive. They got the most expensive captain. Yeah?
Okay, if he said he sent out a rescue boat, does that mean he'd have to tell them where they were going so then that guy could go get the treasure before them?
Uh-huh. Brilliant. Really smart, Trelawney. Okay. A stiff man, which I regret, but in all other respects, a treasure. John Silver unearthed a very competent man for mate, a man named Arrow. I have a boatswain who pipes, lives he, so things shall go man-of-war fashion on board a good ship, Hispaniola. So we have a boatswain, we have first mate, and we have a captain. Haven't decided who the coxswain is yet. I forgot to tell you that Silver is a man of substance. I know of my own knowledge that he has a banker's account which has never been overdrawn. He leaves his wife to manage the inn, and as she is a woman of color, a pair of old bachelors like you and I may be excused for guessing that it is the wife quite as much as the health that sends him back to roving. Yeah, Trelawney's a racist.
I don't get it.
His wife is, Long John Silver's wife is black.
Where does it say?
Woman of color. And it says, oh, you and I being bachelors, no, he probably just wants to get away from his wife. Like, way to go, Trelawney. He's a sexist and a racist. pretty typical for the 1700s, but, yeah?
I don't want to spoil him.
No, don't say anything. Shh, quiet, don't say anything. Nothing. Yep, lip, lip. No rewards for reading ahead in here. Just a nice little salute. Okay. Oh, look at this. Postscript. After what was written, Hawkins may stay one night with his mother. Okay. Crew. What are we thinking so far? Any thoughts? Oh,
I was asking, like, why can't Hawkins stay with his mom? Like, he's always staying with, like,
well, he's been living with Dr. Livesey because the inn was all ruined.
Where's his mom?
His mom is, well, we're going to skip this next part, but they've been rebuilding the inn during this time. Squire Trelawney is helping rebuild the inn
I thought she was
because
still under the bridge.
yeah, I thought she died.
it's been 3 weeks.
She was
No,
dead.
No, we went back and helped her up. Mr. Dance picked her up and
Didn't
took
she
her.
go to the doctor or whatever?
Yeah, she got taken care of. She's fine. Okay.
Not mentally.
She's not dead. She's not in the insane asylum. They've repaired it, and actually they are building. They rebuilt it, and they hire another boy to take over for Jim. And they leave, and that's when he gets homesick and starts crying. And he's like, "Oh, I want my mom. I'm seeing you. I'm gonna leave you, Mom. There's some boy taking my place." And that's the end of chapter 7.
They fight
Yeah.
to the
What was
death.
the thing, like, what Kalen said about Squire and the treasure? Like, what he said?
He told everybody that they were looking for treasure to try and get him to help him. And so he must have told that Blantley guy where the treasure island is, or at least the location for it nearby. Yes?
Are we being recorded?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Why you tell Bland?
Why did he tell Blantley? Because Squire's a blabbermouth and he's not thinking.
Well, if they knew Squire was a blabbermouth, then why did Dr. Livesey go do his own to find
He
out?
told him, remember, that was the last thing at the end of the last chapter. There's one that I am not sure about. He's like, name the dog. And he says, you. You're the one I'm worried about, remember?
Yeah, but then
And now we see why he was worried about it.
why didn't they just do it for him? if he
Well,
was worried?
it said at the beginning of the chapter, Dr. Livesey had to go to London instead of Bristol because he couldn't find somebody to cover his doctor's practice. Right? Somebody had to cover his doctor's office while he was gone. So that's why Dr. Livesey wasn't there to keep watch on Squire. Yeah.
So he had to. He had to snitch just to get a crew.
Right. And then all of a sudden this guy who's been injured in the military shows up and wants to be his cook. And hey, I know a bunch of guys who want to help out. Oh, there's 2 or 3 guys. Those guys don't work. Those 2 guys don't work. I've got a couple of guys who are better than that.
Suspicious.
Wait, what? Why did you get rid of the 2 guys?
Why did Long John Silver? Oh, those guys weren't really good sailors.
Then why were they in his crew in the first place?
Well, Squire Trelawney obviously picked a bad crew. Thankfully, he's got Long John Silver there to help him pick a good crew. Let's turn to chapter 8. Chapter 8. It's called At the Sign of the Spyglass. I told you already, he went home, hugged his mom, cried. So that's why we're skipping the last 2 pages.
Wham.
Stick with me here, Danny. All right. Read along there, Colton. It says, when I had done breakfasting, the squire gave me a note addressed to John Silver, where now everybody's in Bristol. Squire, Redruth, Hunter, Joyce, these people you haven't really met yet. They are already in Bristol, and they woke up this morning, and Squire Trelawney says, here you go, Jim Hawkins, take this down to the spyglass and give this to Long John Silver. When I had done breakfasting, the squire gave me a note addressing to John Silver at the sign of the spyglass, and told me I should easily find the place by following the line of the docks and keeping a bright lookout for a little tavern with a large brass telescope for a sign. Spyglass, that sounds familiar. Sound familiar to anybody?
The hill.
Ah, the hill from the
By the end.
from the map.
Oh,
On the map it says Spyglass Hill, right? And the captain took a spyglass up to above the inn, right? To go look out for people. That was called the Admiral Benbow.
I know, but the hill that he walked up on.
No, it wasn't called the
It's
Spyglass.
just like a hard
That was in his
story to
dream.
keep up with.
That's why I was trying to
Flip
help.
to the last page.
All right. keeping a bright lookout for a little tavern with a large brass telescope for sign. I set off, overjoyed at this opportunity to see some more of the ships and seamen, and picked my way among a great crowd of people and carts and bales, for the dock was now at its busiest, until I found the tavern in question. Have you ever watched a movie and they show like thousands of people walking through the streets? That's what you need to imagine, except instead of buildings,
Are those like actual
Cottages.
instead of buildings, imagine boats. And instead of streets, imagine ocean. This is what the dock at Bristol is like. There's people with ropes pulling stuff up. There's people unloading boats, loading boats, walking around, busy. This is a big trade town. So it's not like that dock that your friends or your grandpa took you to go cast and get a fish. No, these docks are huge, massive, full of cargo and all that stuff, and tons of people walking. So it's very, very full. Question.
So why are they in Bristol again?
That is the port they're going to sail out of. It's like going to, you don't sail out of Wamego, you sail out of New Orleans or out of Los Angeles.
Like going to the airport.
It's like going to the airport, except it's called a seaport.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Because it's on a boat.
Because it's on a boat. All right, good question. It was a bright enough little place of entertainment. The sign was newly painted. The windows had neat red curtains. The floor was cleanly sanded. There was a street on either side and an open door on both, which made the large, low room pretty clear to see in spite of the clouds of tobacco smoke. This is what I want you to imagine, Dario. There's the room right here, the Spyglass Tavern. It's a lot like the Admiral Benbow. People can sleep upstairs. There's the bar and the parlor on the main floor. Pardon me. Except he's got the door over there and a door right here. Those, like a saloon in the old westerns, you could open those doors that are like, they're open from the waist down and they're like kind of curved on top. I don't even know what those are called, I forget. You open those up and there's light on the other side. There's a street over there and a street here. And it's full of tables and people sitting at those tables having whatever sailors have, right? And it's a smoky room. The guys are all smoking cigars and pipes in there. Typical bar. The customers, so here's our guy, he's at the front door, old Jimmy or Jane Hawkins, looking in, and oh man, it's mostly seafaring men, was the customers, and they talk so loudly that I hung at the door, almost afraid to enter. It's like, wow, yeah, bye, yo, ho, ho, and blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if I want to go in here. As I was waiting, a man came out of a side room over here. And at a glance, I was sure he must be Long John. His left leg was cut off, close by the hip. And under the shoulder, he carried a crutch, which he managed with wonderful dexterity. What does that mean? Very, very nimble, very quick. It's like he wasn't even missing a leg. He was hopping upon it like a bird. He was very tall and strong, with a face as big as a ham, plain and pale, but intelligent and smiling. Indeed, he seemed in the most cheerful spirits, whistling as he moved about among the tables, with a merry word or a slap on the shoulder for more of his favorite guests. Now, to tell you the truth, from the very first mention of Long John in Squire Trelawney's letter, I had taken a fear in my mind that he might prove to be the very one-legged sailor whom I had watched for so long at the old Benbow. How many of you are like, this has got to be the guy?
Yeah,
This has got to be the guy.
I know what you mean.
All right?
Bye-bye.
But, here's a big but. But, one look at the man before me was enough. I had seen the captain and Black Dog and Blind Man Pew, and I thought what I knew what a buccaneer looked like. Very different creature, according to me, from this clean and pleasant-tempered landlord. It's like you've been seeing all these guys that are dressed look, I don't know, for our culture, you see these guys that look like drug dealers and homeless guys, I don't know. And then you go and you see this guy wearing a big, clean, buttoned-up suit. And you're like,
Faker.
there's no way he's not like those other guys. This guy's all clean cut. Clearly he's not one of these buccaneer types. I plucked up courage at once, crossed the threshold, which is the entrance, and walked right up to the man where he stood, propped on his crutch, talking to a customer. Mr. Silver, sir? I asked, holding out the note.
Yes, my lad,
said he.
such my name to be sure. And who may you be?
And then he saw beside Squire's letter. He seemed to give me something almost like a start, like this, like a weird look.
Oh,
Said he, quite loud and offering his head.
I see. You're our new cabin boy. Pleased I am to see you.
And he took my hand in his large, firm grasp. Just then, one of the customers at the far side rose suddenly and made for the door. It was close by him, and he was out in the street in a moment. But his hurry had attracted my notice, and I recognized him at a glance. He was the tallow-faced man, wanting 2 fingers, who had come first to the Admiral Benbow. Who's that?
Black dog.
Oh, I cried, stop him! It's Black Dog!
I don't care 2 coppers who he is,
Cried Silver.
but he hasn't paid his score.
Or his bill.
Right, Harry, run and catch him.
Tap.
One of the others who was nearest the door leaped up and started in pursuit.
If he were Admiral Hawke, he shall pay his score.
Cried Silver, then relinquishing my hand.
Who did you say he was?
Yes,
Black what?
Dog, sir. Has Mr. Trelawney not told you of the Buccaneers? He was one of them.
So,
Cried Silver.
in my house, Ben, Ryan Alberry, one of them swabs, was he? Was yet you drinking with him, Morgan? Step up here.
The man whom he called Morgan, an old gray-haired, mahogany-faced sailor, red-faced, came forward pretty sheepishly, rolling his money or his quid.
Now, Morgan,
Said Long John very
so you never clapped your eyes on that black dog before, did you now? Not I, sir.
said Morgan, with a salute.
You didn't know his name, did you?
No, sir.
By the powers, Tom Morgan, it's as good for you, exclaimed the landlord. If you had been mixed up with a like of that, you would never put foot in my house, you may lay to that. And what was he saying to you?
I don't rightly know, sir, answered Morgan.
Do you call that a head on your shoulders or a blessed dead eye?
Cried Long John.
Don't rightly know, don't you? Perhaps you don't happen to rightly know who you was speaking to, perhaps. Come now, what was he drawing? Barges, captains, ships, pipe up, what was it?
He was talking of keel oil, answered Morgan.
Keel oiling, was you? And a mighty suitable thing too, and you may lay to that. Get back to your place for a lover, Tom.
And then as Morgan rolled back to his seat, Silver added to me in a confidential whisper that was very flattering. I thought,
He's quite an honest man, Tom Morgan. Only stupid. And now,
he ran on again aloud.
that's a black dog. Now, I don't know the name, not I. Yet, I kinda think I've seen the swab. He used to come here with a blind beggar, he used.
That he did, to be sure, said I. Yeah, I knew that blind man too. His name was Pew.
It was, cried Silver, now quite excited. Pew, that were his name for certain. Oh, he looked a shark, he did. If we run down this black dog now, there'll be news for Captain Trelawney.
Ben's a good runner. Few seamen run better than Ben. He should run him down.
And overhand by the powers, oh, he talked to keel him, did he? I'll keel him.
Interesting little thing here. First of all, let's talk about keel hauling. What's the keel of a boat? Anybody know what the keel of a boat is?
Nope.
Imagine a boat. You got a part underwater, the top, you got the bridge, you got the underquarters here. The keel is like the spine of a boat. It's that piece that keeps the two pieces sides together, right down the bottom of the boat. Okay, that's the keel. Now imagine a really long piece of rope,
Yes.
tie it around a guy's arms, around a guy's arms. Then you take it like a jump rope over the front of the boat, put him in the middle, then you take him to the side and throw him over the side. And he's stuck there, and then you haul him
under the boat, past the keel. Yeah, there's barnacles and other stuff under there that you're being scraped across. I don't know how long it would take to get keel hauled, maybe a minute or two. They pull you up as fast as you can because they don't want you to drown. If you do drown, well, I guess the sea got you. If you survive all the cuts and scrapes, you get pulled up, and if you survived, you survived. If you're dead, they throw you overboard. Keel hauling.
Why would they do
What is the
that?
point of that?
Punishment.
For what?
Treason. Not following the rules of the boat. Very strict rules on a boat.
Because he's mad.
Light a fire on a boat, that'll get you keel hauled. Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, how do they do it? Like,
It's like a guy's tied together with a jump rope over the front of a giant boat, and they throw him over the side, and he's connected by the on both sides to a rope and the rope goes underneath the boat, and they throw him overboard, and it's like you're pulling this side, and as you're pulling this side, you're pulling him down that way,
oh,
under the boat.
We got stuck.
And then you keep pulling him until he drags under the bottom of the boat, and then comes up to the other side. Does that make a little bit more sense? All right? So it's like the guy jumps out, you throw him overboard, and he gets dragged underneath the boat and then pulled back up. Thing is, it's not a, it's not a small boat. It's like 30 feet down, 40 feet across the bottom. It's not like it's a canoe. Oh, we got keel hauled. It's a giant boat. So it's going to take about a minute to get you through. So you can hold your breath that long and not get killed.
Oh my lord.
I'll kill all you. Now let's talk about, now that we know what keel hauling is,
Yes.
let's talk about this interaction. What's this make Mr. Long John Silver look like? He's got a black dog drinking in his place, who runs off. And he's like, I don't know, wait a minute, I've seen that guy before. He's with some guy named, some blind guy. Who else knows about the blind guy? Jimmy. And if Jimmy knows about the blind guy, well, it's just too bad the blind guy is dead. That's just too bad. All the time he was jerking out these phrases as he was stumping up and down the tavern on his crutch, slapping tables with his hand, and giving such a show of excitement as would have convinced an Old Bailey judge or a Bow Street runner. My suspicions had been thoroughly reawakened on finding Black Dog at the spyglass, and I watched the cook narrowly. What are his suspicions? That's the seafaring man with one leg. That's gotta be him. If Black Dog's here, he's gotta be the bad guy. But he was too deep, too ready, and too clever for me. Jay, where's that? Whoever that is. He was too deep, too ready, and too clever for me. And by the time the two men had come back, out of breath, and confessed they had lost track of him in a crowd, and then he scolded them like thieves, I would have gone bail for the innocence of Long John Silver. See here now, Hawkins. Question?
Yes. So before the captain died, he told
Jim.
yeah, that dude. To watch out for a dude with only one leg.
A seafaring man with one leg.
And so
Yeah, we
far
need to
Jim
hear.
thinks that's
He thinks this guy, but now he realizes it's not this guy.
what?
but I
No,
thought
it's what he realizes it is.
He realizes it's not this guy. He says here he'd go bail for the innocence of him. It's like, I would put $100,000 down. This guy is not the seafaring man that I was warned about. That's what he's saying. No hints from you. See here now, Hawkins, said he. Here's a blessed odd thing on a man like me now, ain't it? There's Captain Trelawney. What's he to think? Here I have this confounded son of a Dutchman sitting in my own house drinking my own rum. Here you comes and tells me of it plain. And here I let him give us all the slip before my blessed deadlight. Right before my eyes, I let this guy get away. How's that make me look? Now, Hawkins, you do me justice with a captain. You're a lad, you are, but you're as smart as paint. A lot of times he says smart as paint. Sometimes it means you're smart. Sometimes it means you're stupid. Sometimes you don't even know what Long John Silver's saying. I see that when you first came in. Now here it is. What could I do with this old timber I humble on? When I was an A.B. Master Mariner, I'd have come up alongside him hand over hand and broached him in the braces of old shakes. I would. But now, it's like, if I wasn't, oh, I'm a poor wounded guy. I can't go get Black Dog. If I was younger, I would have got him myself, I swear. And then all of a sudden he stopped and his jaw dropped as though he had remembered something. The score! 3 goes around my ship and my timbers. If I had forgotten my score! And falling on a bench, he laughed until the tears ran down his cheeks. And I could not help joining. And we laughed together, peal after peal, until the tavern rang again. About what?
It's the score.
The bill? The bill. The guy never paid his bill for 3 drinks of rum. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot that he didn't even pay the bill. And Jim's like, I don't get it, but I'm gonna laugh.
Is this guy bipolar?
Boy, what a precious old sea cat I am. At last wiping his cheeks. You and me should get on well, Hawkins, for I'll take my davy. I should be rated ship boy. But come now, stand by to go about. This won't do. Duty is duty, messmates. I'll put on my old cocked hat and step along of you to Captain Trelawney and report this here affair. We'll go tell Trelawney ourselves what happened today. For mind you, it's serious, young Hawkins, and neither you nor me's come out of it with what I should make so bold as to call credit. Both of us look bad. That Black Dog got away, don't you think? Oh, you neither me, says you. Not smart. None of the pair of us smart, but dash my buttons. That was a good one about my score. And he began to laugh again, and that so heartily that, though I did not see the joke as he did, I was again obliged to join him in his mirth. I still don't get it with that. You're right, that is funny to me. I don't get it. On our little walk along the quays, he made himself the most interesting companion, telling me about the different ships that we passed by, their rig, tonnage, and nationality. That one is from Costa Rica. That one's going to China. That is where? Oh, that's an Indian ship. They got great tea on there. What's the one thing he's lost in the last 5 months of this story so far?
Who, Jim?
Jim. What's he lost? His house? Well, it got rebuilt.
Dad.
His mom's okay. What did he lose?
Dad.
His dad. Man, here's this really cool guy who knows so much, and who's so smart, and he's seen so much more than my dad ever saw. A little bit of a,
Second father.
whatever this, second little father figure here. What he's been looking for, right?
Dad.
Nice British accent, Dario. It's good. How one was discharging, another taking in cargo, a third making ready for sea, and now every now and then telling me some little anecdote of ships or a story about that one, or repeating a nautical phrase till I had learned it perfectly. I began to see that the here was one of the best possible shipmates. This guy knows everything. When we got to the inn, the squire and Dr. Livesey were seated together, finishing a quart of ale with a toast in it, before they should go aboard the schooner on a visit of inspection. They're always having a little drink. I was in there and they're like, hey, we're going to go inspect it. What are you guys doing here? Long John told the story from first to last, with a great deal of spirit, as you can tell. Long John Silver's a very spirited guy. And the most perfect truth. He told the truth from beginning to end. That was how it were now, weren't it, Hawkins? He would say now and again, and I could always bear him out entirely. Like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. The 2 gentlemen regretted that Black Dog had got away, but we all agreed there was nothing to be done. And after he had been complimented, Long John took up his crutch and departed. All hands aboard by 4 this afternoon, shouted the squire after him. Aye, aye, sir, cried the cook in the passage. Well, squire, said Dr. Livesey, I don't put much faith in your discoveries as a general thing, but I will say this, John Silver suits me. What does that mean?
You like him?
Yeah, Dr. Livesey's like, this guy's peach. He's awesome. The man's a perfect trump, declared the squire. And now, added the doctor, Jim may come aboard with us, may he not? To be sure, he may, said the squire. Take your hat, Hawkins, and we'll see the ship.
What does he mean now? Why couldn't Jim see it before?
Because it wasn't loaded yet.
So-
And he's just a captain boy. There's lots of little ranks and procedures. Couple questions, but before I answer those, you gotta be thinking, what would you tweet? We've got 3 minutes here. I would like you to write down, what are you gonna try and tweet tonight so I can help you? While you're getting that paper out, I'll answer some questions. Question,
So they made it, so Lockjaw
Wait, doesn't there?
Hold on, she's asking a question.
made it back with Jim, and now they're talking to Dr. Lucy.
Yeah, they made it back to the inn, a different place that they've been staying, and now they're all ready to go on the ship. And they said by 4 o'clock, everybody needs to report. Shy.
Have they picked the costume yet?
The coxswain's been picked, but we don't know who it is yet. Yes.
Who's the first mate?
First mate's name is Arrow. We learned that in the letter. Question.
How come they're not like confused about Black Dog? Like when they heard Black Dog?
They saw him, but he got away.
No, like when they pulled like Dr. Lucy and then.
Dr. Livesey and them believe Jim, that as soon as Black Dog saw Jim, Black Dog ran away. And that makes sense to them, that if he saw that Black Dog would know that Jim knows him. Kayla, don't give anything away. Okay.
Kind of creepy having
What are you, I said, well, never mind. Okay, yes? Yes, you may sharpen your pencil. Okay, who has questions about what they're gonna tweet?
What is the bill is so funny?
There, it wasn't funny. It's a way of doing what? What was he doing?
Breaking news.
Yeah, he's trying to have a good memory, and he's also distracting Jim, right? Question.
Okay, what's like I don't know what I gotta say, but like I'm the boatswain or whatever.
Watson, yeah?
Yeah, like what is like my versus?
Your guy's job is to make sure the crew is following orders. Just like there's a ranking system, like the captain, well, like, I wonder, do they know, does the crew know where they're going?
Yes.
Ah, they shouldn't know, but they do, right? So what do they tweet?
When I
I'm off.
like,
I hope you find
I don't know.
out.
You gotta think about, hey, it doesn't have to be profound, especially when you don't know your character yet. But those of you who do know your character, like if you're the captain, you're really stiff, very, very disciplined, high expectations, right? But the crew better be ready to go. Things like that. Dr. Livesey, is he ready to go? What did Dr. Livesey just say, just now?
I like this
He's
guy.
ready to go.
And he likes who?
Long John.
Long John.
He likes Long John Silver. I really like this Long John Silver guy. But what about chapter 7? Listen, chapter 8 was he likes Long John Silver. But what might he have said once he read Squire's letter?
Stupid Squire.
Stupid Squire, why did you say something about the treasure? Right? So that's what we're practicing. I was hoping we'd have a little bit more time to write. You better be tweeting too. It's due tomorrow.
Yes, I will.
Okay.